Congratulations, audience. We three have gathered once again. Now, a few hours ago, I briefly considered the possibility that it would be funny, but only for me and only briefly, if I found a reason to cancel tonight's show just so that we wouldn't set an expectation that we would continue to meet regularly in the future, which I'm not sure that we can. But you are now in the same zone that Blades of Honor is. This show will happen when we can gather its members. It will not be regularly, probably, for some time. I don't know.
I'd like to know, you said we three have gathered. I'm wondering who the person on the outside is.
I'm the person on the outside. I will always be cursed with the knowledge that my Battletech players considered me to not be a member of the group.
But you said we, so that would imply you include yourself in the circle of trust.
Pretty much every time I say we is a royal we.
Well, royal we just means I.
Yeah.
So you...
So I have gathered.
I'm making stuff up as fast as I can, James, to cover for my... Look, and people had the gall to say yesterday, what does it matter, the difference between slim and slender? And I said, the English language matters. Communication matters. Because if you ever make a mistake, GrimDarkJames is like a fucking shark-hyena hybrid. He's on you in a second. He'll never let it out of his jaws. And just like a mako shark, he never sleeps. He's still swimming even while asleep. Okay. So, Kendric, Kyned, Gwgan, that's the name of your characters, right? Let me just make sure I have the right character sheets open.
Correct.
It's been
Indeed.
a really long time since we've regularly had episodes, so I really got to double check here. You find yourselves traveling with your good pal, Gwent, who it's now been made aware to you that he is something of a proficient alchemist, which, while questionable, is certainly celebrated among those of what one might call a pagan faith. And among the Christians, alchemy is a science endorsed by the Lord God. Is it a gateway drug to darker magics? Yes. But it is necessary to fight those magics. Now, do we as players know that Gwgan attempted to use magic? Yes. Yes, he did, and he failed quite badly.
Gwyn or Gwent?
Yes, Gwent. Sorry, Gwent.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You know,
don't impugn me, sir.
I'm about to go back to my speech
like
on
a good Christian.
how much the English language matters. Hey, listen, Spoon, your wife is doing the knitting. The next level meta would be to do the "Embrace Me Like a Good Christian" quilt, but make it one of those quilts that you can put your arms through so that you can wear it as like a snuggie.
Like a snuggie, yeah.
Now that would be genius.
Yeah, just make sure she sews in a knife pocket.
So you traveled from the tower of Sir Wolf Gluck when there was blood on the Gluck Tower, and you chased after a certain knight in order to break the witch of the Hamlet of Salem, and it required the hair of the dog that literally bit you. You now find yourself on the westernmost, in fact, southwesternmost coast of this land of England, and there is dire news coming out of Tintagel. There is word that a three-way battle has kicked off. So there's a scattered skirmishing between what people are calling Goesi and the Wessexians, King Idris of Cornwall and Brittany, and Count Urban of Devon. So Count Urban was recently completely annihilated. His army was overrun, it sounds like, from the word of it. And numerous other counts in the nearby area had pledged their troops, specifically because Queen Igraine from her monastery had sent letters across the land asking for people to help defend Devon and points east. Now there is so Devon is now basically like a war-torn battleground that thousands of peasant troops, mercenaries, men-at-arms, and knights, and now whatever the Goesi are, whether they count as knights or Saxons, and certainly they have Saxon marauders among them, and Earl Jagant, Tegfin, Earl of Jagant, has also committed troops to this area. from what you can tell, sitting at a sort of ale house inn deal, not a place you would stay overnight, but some place to rest in the middle of the day and get a cool drink while the sun is at its highest. You know, it's South Britain, so it gets to a balmy 81 degrees in the summer here.
Have a plowman's lunch.
Yeah, have a plowman's lunch. Gwent is gathering information for you in the background via a series of a game of cards that he's handily winning both your lunch money for and a small pile of coins for him besides. He comes back over and is filling all of you in on this and says, "It sounds to me as if we should travel north. Avoid, what is it, Ilminster and Ilchester completely. Try to get to Glastonbury and take the King's Road east. Maybe cut through Marlborough and Wanborough. Do we know anyone that lives along the roads there? Bath?"
I know the knight Thebert of Marlborough.
"Ah, Sir Thebert. He is a well-known banneret lord. Like yourself now."
Indeed.
Would he not have joined the combat in Cornwall?
He definitely did.
100% did. And he joined
Earl
on
Devon's,
Earl Devon's.
Earl Devon.
Yeah.
The Earl of Devon's side. So against our people.
Yes.
And he did send me a letter saying, "Hey, come fight with us." And I did not respond. I left him on red.
Yeah. You pigeon pooties.
Yeah, so Kendric will say that. He says, I believe the Earl actually came down for the fighting in Devon. I don't know whether he survived or not.
In many ways, I think that our journeys so far this year have kept us from the fight so long that for us to try and join now would be potentially disruptive to either side we join. I do think we should look at returning to Sarum so this year can finally end.
Gwent
I would
says,
agree.
"We are but 4 knights, Sir Gwgan, and some squires. Surely you jest in that the 4 of us could make a sort of legendary contribution to..."
No, I think that we would produce more issue than benefit. That's what I'm saying.
Perhaps. There are many stories about the battle. I'm still sorting fact from fiction. If you wish, we could stay here longer to do so. But based on what I am hearing from these men of the road, I believe that we should cut around Ilminster and Ilchester, perhaps get a boat to Bristol, and then maybe Bath, and cut the King's Road through Silchester. No one has angered Duke Ulfius recently, right?
Correct.
Not recently.
Yeah.
Was there
He's really just looking at Kendric when he says that.
Was he looking at someone in particular? Yeah.
Kendrick goes, not for a few years.
Yeah.
And while Silchester may not have once been a place we could pass through, and Lev Kamegas may still be on the other side of the border, I still think the King's Road is the safest way to travel. Trying to cut across to Stonehenge may be unwise at this time. But I do not make decisions for the Order of the Axe, he says.
I think that you speak good sense, Gwent.
So we're west of Devon, right? Or like we're in that area?
You are in the area of Tintagel.
Okay, we're in the area of Tintagel. Ooh.
Yeah, so Gwent wants to get like a day boat from Tintagel to Bath. Probably it'll be a couple of days. Not like a seagoing vessel, but like a coastal boat that'll just ride the winds up and down. Somewhat experienced.
I mean, yeah, that sounds good to me. Like I'm circumventing the battlefield area entirely. Can you find someone to hire out for us, Gwent?
Gwent says, "Find someone? Why, I'd love to just get a boat myself," he says, shuffling his deck of cards. "I'll see what I can do. If I can't make a new friend, I'll get a new boat, one way or the other."
Very well.
He stands up from the table and heads back out into the nearby crowd.
I just want to see where like Gwent is playing like 4 consecutive games, like chess
No,
mastering.
yeah,
like,
Jess, yeah. He's playing all 4 of the main decks from the Witcher card game at the same time.
It seems the fight went badly for the native Britons.
So it would seem.
I know we committed many forces, or at least a portion of our forces, to King Idris's side, and I assume we'll be paid handsomely for that. But I think perhaps if there is any further eastward expansion by the king, we should perhaps stand against that.
It depends whether his move here was simply to secure the tin mines or whether he actually has designs upon reaching London.
Mm.
Kyned, nearby, there is like a band of men. They're not troubadours or bards in any way. They just appear like country folk who've come to a larger city like Tintagel, and they've brought instruments with them to entertain themselves. And at least 2 of them have tin whistles and seem to be playing The Devil Went Down to Georgia dueling style between their tin whistles. And another man sitting next to them wearing like a dark green cloak, which really stands out in a room full of people with like brilliant blue and yellow clothing. He's 100% Aragorn stridering between these 2 men. So like you look at the 2 men with the tin whistles. This guy is puffing on a pipe between them, looking directly at you, making eye contact. Significant strider glancing you. As he like blows out a puff of smoke. I mean, you know that you've been approached while hunting before by people who have sort of clued into the fact that you're like a spy, you're like an information gatherer, and this guy seems to have zeroed in on that with you and is almost like inviting you to come over to talk to him. Because it would be inappropriate for someone like him to approach you first.
Gents, I'm going to go and get a closer listen to the minstrels for a moment. I'll be back, and I will go and sit down on the bench next to. Do I recognize this gentleman?
I think you can make a recognize roll.
Let me do so.
Does sound like someone fishing for a recognize to try to boost it.
You've
never seen this man
him before in my life.
He leans in close to you and says, "My lord Kyned, I understand that you are a man of means and taste.
Indeed.
I have news from afar that may interest you."
What news is that?
So I'd like you to make an intrigue roll here, and depending on how good you do, so it's not just going to be about passing. He will tell you things, and piecing together what all these rumors mean is the point of this roll. And the closer you get to a critical, the better the information you'll get out of this.
Oh.
Yeah?
Trying to decide if I
Want to impassion?
I don't think I have any. As much as I want the extra 5 points, I don't think I have any passions that would apply to that.
I think if it doesn't sound like you thought of it this way, but if you were doing this on behalf of the Countess,
I
it
could
would
roll
be
loyalty,
loyal to your lord. But it sounds like you're doing this for
I
personal.
thought about that, but I thought that was just metagaming too much.
No, I think that if you truly believe that what you do is not in service to yourself, but in service to God, I said the words. It's service to our Lord. I was going to say your Lord, but wow.
Well, let's see how well I do here. I do successfully
You did
impassion.
some good news.
Which gives you a check in that, right?
He
already had
has it.
one actually.
Oh,
But
you already had one.
Yeah.
Okay.
yes, it would otherwise. And then
So
a
this
plus
pretty much
5.
ensures the fact that you can't fail this, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
But it also will give me pluses on the dice, which will give me the better chance of critting.
Yeah, that's true.
Fling, yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
crit.
That's a crit.
He blows out a stream of smoke. Some of what he says is nonsense, but piecing together a lot of what he says, he is talking about ancient biblical legends of a man called Joseph of Arimathea. He's apparently a very important Christian man, which may or may not mean a lot to Kyned. Some say he was the uncle of Jesus Christ. Others say he was a important acolyte or apostle. But an ancient king of Summerland or Somerset, depending on which part of Summerland or Somerset you're from, gave land to Joseph of Arimathea when he came to settle in Britain back in the day, back in the 50s and 60s, and Anno Domini. And during that time, it was rumored that a silver mine of unparalleled quality was found due to the grace of God given to Joseph of Arimathea. And that such a silver mine today, even now, this close to 500, has yet to have run out. That the silver mine remains. Many know its location. It is not hidden in any way. But it is said that all of those who attack it are cursed by God. But, and this is the big thing that you're getting only because you criticaled, some nearby lords around the area, specifically down here, Tintagel, Terrible, Devon, Jagan, Esquivalon, Gloucester, Clarence, nearby lords are starting to say, you don't have to hold the mines, you just have to hold the road the ore is delivered on to get processed. You just need to intercept the convoys. Who's to say a group of knights riding through the area don't get a few saddle ponies full of ore sort of deal? It sounds like no dukes, no counts are involved in something like this, but banner lords, mercenaries, knights themselves are all looking at that silver mine hidden somewhere in Somerset and making a decision on whether it's truly worth it to upset Somerset, Summerland, the king of Somerset, as some call the count there. Some say fairies defend the place. Some say the Lord God defends it. Can you offend all of these people? There are some who in the next year are thinking it may be worth it to get that silver.
Well, that is quite the tale.
There are many tales around the land. If you wish, you may find more tales from me throughout the years. I am Warwick, and I make my trade down the King's Road. That's Warric, Warwick. Just in case you wanted that for any notational purposes in your accounting for where the money you're going to pay me for this information is coming from.
If only I could write my name on a card and hand it out.
You act like this guy knows how to write.
He knows how to spell. He spelled his name out.
That is true, but I would point out in this system, reading and writing are two different things. So being able to spell one's name and being able to write one's name are not the same thing.
So I will pay Warwick a Libra for the
That's big
for the
money right
information.
there. Yeah.
It was some good information, you know.
You've ensured his loyalty here.
And
For the next 5 years, you can take a +1 to intrigue when encountering Warwick. I'm giving you the same deal I gave Spoon when he freed that poacher from
I
certain
did get a
death.
+2. I
I'm
got a
giving
+2 on
hey,
my hunting rolls.
I'm giving him a +1.
Hey,
I said
gotta
I offered
ask.
him the same deal. I didn't say the exact same deal. You know what? I was imprecise in my English language. I'll offer you a similar deal, Glimo.
He's altering the deal.
Frey, I don't alter it any further. Jesus.
Well, thank you, Warwick. And should you also run into a band of minstrels calling themselves Breakfast at Tiffany's, know that they seek information on my behalf, should I not be free to travel.
His unusually strong arm reaches out to clasp your arm. He leans it next to you and says, some people believe that the game master was being anachronistic when he included the name Tiffany in this game. But it appears as early as the year 1200 there was a Lady Tiffany.
Indeed.
So it'll be less anachronistic in 700 years' time. Fantastic.
Yes, but
What a strange thing to say, Warwick.
In this game series, we get plate armor, which is like 500 years early. You know what I mean? Like we speed run the medieval times. Yeah. So it's not unusual to hear the name Tiffany in the late medieval period, which again, I'm aware we're not in yet, but it's not as weird as it initially seemed. Now, is breakfast at Tiffany's anachronistic? Yes, absolutely, 100%. Second breakfast at Tiffany's. Now we're talking. Warwick stands and leaves, and as he's leaving, he does the Assassin's Creed 1 style, like push through the crowd. He disappears into it as he creepily puts his hands on people, just like, ooh, you, just me, just creepily moving through the crowd. This will make me disappear for sure. Gwent comes back over, and he says that he has a boat that will take 4 days' time to get you to Bristol, and you can take the horses to Bath and follow the King's Road. Where is Sir Kyned? You need to take a leak or something?
He went to listen to the minstrels. I believe there was some tin whistling going on.
Ah, yes. What a strange song they're playing, one that spits in the eyes of God. A man who thought he was so arrogant he could defeat the devil, and then did.
I wouldn't know.
Well, I'm sure the pagan religion is full of examples of people spitting in the eyes of God. Gods.
Yeah, it usually ends very badly for them.
True enough.
In any case, looks like he's coming back now.
When Kendric turns away, we see Gwent pull a little silver cross out, and he rubs it briefly before stuffing it back underneath his shirt.
Everyone has converted.
I mean, Gwent literally has silver crosses and hexagonal shit on the outside of his castle.
Yeah, that's true.
He was always... And second off, he uses pagan magic. Just to be really clear. This is like the guy from The Mummy who's just like, I'll use every holy symbol I need. The language of the slaves. What a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Would not get made nowadays.
I enjoyed showing my kids the Mummy and then showing them Brendan Fraser today.
Ooh, wow, what a 20-year leap. He's a good man.
He
to
is.
some extent.
And a very good actor.
Yeah. Okay.
So the boat, 4 days to Bath?
Yes. To Bristol, and then you have to ride
Bristol,
to Bath.
and then ride to Bath.
In the process, Gwent is like, oh, you could certainly use a bath, Sir Kendric, but you smell like a wet dog.
Well, it's hard to find time to bathe when you're on the road.
Indeed. And when you're turning into a werewolf, sure.
Yes,
James, have been to Bath. Been to the Roman bath there.
Yeah.
Did you what is it, bathe in the magic water?
So the thing is that the baths, because they're like from underwater supply, they're not safe because they're full of bacteria, basically. So you're allowed to walk through the area, but they say you can't touch the water. I touch the water because they comment how warm it is. And it was warm, but you can't get in the baths anymore. But you can certainly go down to like the water's edge in the baths. It's amazing that like the modern street is like 25 feet above. It's like 25 feet above the level of where the building was
In the
originally.
shadow of a bridge.
Everything's just built up. Everything's built up over the last 2,000 years, to the point that like the old Roman streets are like 30 feet beneath the
Yeah,
the
wait
modern
until
street.
you hear about fucking Chicago.
Yeah.
They didn't need 2,000 years of Roman time to sink into the ground. Okay. If there's nothing else, we screen wipe to all of you arriving outside Thebert of Marbo's estate.
I would say while we're on the boat, are we alone on the boat, or is there like
Your
a
squires
large
are
number
there
of people?
and your horses. The boat is large enough to carry all of you semi-comfortably, but like the horses have to sleep on deck, sort of thing. Like it's not truly deep enough to be like a 2-deck. It's more like a barge than
Mostly, I'm asking how private it is. Like, is there like a
not
ton of...
particularly. It's not like there's a ton of crewmen. There's only 3 crew members, but
Okay.
it's not large enough that you can have a private conversation with, like below decks whispered or something. Privacy is more of like people politely turning their ears away and pretending not to listen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, then.
You could certainly have a private conversation on the road from Bristol to Marlborough.
Yeah, I think that at that point, then, Kyned will ask for counsel from the rest of the Order of the Axe, with what to do with the information that he gleaned from Warwick. First off, I'm assuming that one of the gents who has been Christian for longer than me might know whether this story about Joseph of Arimathea holds water or not. But also, how do we feel that we should make use of this information? I certainly received it in my service to the Countess, but I am conflicted as to the honor in acting upon it.
AP, you mind if I roll religion to test my knowledge of the story?
Joseph of Arimathea, sure.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to impassion love of God, even though it's so freaking low. Because I've murdered people in the house of the Lord.
For some reason, Sabaton begins playing, and
I succeed.
turns out, not only do you love God, but God loves you as well. Checkmark that shit.
It's already checked. Because I built a church, which means I get to check every year. What is it when you got a low? What's the benefit for a low
5.
one again? 5. Okay, cool. So
now's a great time to mention that Glimo subbed in with 73-month streak here. Wow, a critical religion. Now look, all of this, Joseph of Arimathea was Jesus's uncle. You don't know shit about that. He is a canonized saint who was, look, how Jesus was viewed in the 500s is very different from how he's viewed now. It was like fishes and loaves, this guy going around like, hey, what's up, guys? Peace, love, and brotherhood, right? In order to run a clique like that, you got to have a funder. You got to have a bank, someone willing to pay out. It's not all fishes and loaves. And guess who the sugar daddy for the apostle group is? It's Joseph of Arimathea, the richest member of Jesus's clique, all right? That said, he is pious. He was considered to be respected and wise. And what earned him his sainthood is that when Jesus was killed, he is the one who asked Pontius Pilate to bury Jesus. No one else had the gall or the respect for our Lord and Savior to go and bring Jesus down and have him buried. So Joseph of Arimathea took it upon himself to clothe the Lord in silks, linens, and myrrh and spices, and as such, he is a saint. It is true, he did come to Britain, and an ancient king did grant him land. The thing about the silver mine being on this land, that's news to you, but it is not news to you that consecrated sacred silver comes out of that county. It's no surprise to hear that Somerset has some form of like a cardinal is out there like blessing silver and then making sure that it gets everywhere across the country. Because you wrote religion, not knowledge, location of silver mines.
No.
You definitely know that there is a silver mine. Christianity's involved. Joseph of Arimathea, information checks out. Kind of 100%. The thing about being the uncle of Jesus, that was weird, but...
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will certainly GrimDarkJames correct these people about that, as in Kyned about what he's learned, but that's fine. So, what do we think our options are here then?
Well, suppose the options are we can stop other people from stealing the silver, or we could go break ourselves off our own piece.
Oh, I like how Kendric nods at that. Gwent looks passively as this is being discussed.
I feel as though the legend of cursed silver, that all those who attack the silver mine are cursed, but, you know, picking some up on the road, I don't know. I don't particularly have any thoughts one way or another. I mean, it depends on how much silver we can get to make it worth it.
I mean, Somerset is our neighbor. And
an ally, or
yes.
was an ally.
Gwent says it's not far from here.
Yeah, and while we haven't necessarily always had good relations with our neighbors, pointed look, we if Idris's armies continue marching east, they'll reach Somerset before they reach Salisbury.
Could I possibly roll fairy lore about the King of Somerset?
Ooh, okay, go ahead.
I know it's a long shot, but you know, yeah, failure.
I mean, I think that we cut to you learning about the King of Somerset very really. Like, we see you as a younger man getting tales from some, pagan ritual about it. And then, like, it's almost as if you can sense Oberon being like literally snatching the tale from your mind as you are literally bound to his service after death.
Yeah.
As you're like, oh, I know about the King of Summerland?
Well, I mean, some people call him a king, others he's just a count. I think Kendric just kind of shrugs and leaves it up to the two Christians.
I guess the question is, do we take this information back to the Countess and let her decide, or do we make our own?
It sounds as though if we wait, it will be too late, and that others will have taken the quarry before we had an opportunity to, or if we were to
then that's the
stop
question:
them.
is do we tell King Count Summerlandset, give him warning, would he take it from us? Or
Do I remember anything about when we rode through Somerset on the way to Terrabil the first time when King Uther showed the sword?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Are you looking for something in particular?
Because did. What was the because like King Uther, how did he treat Somerset?
So I mean, Somerset, of course, swore allegiance to the High King, right?
Yes.
That said, there has always been some question about just how magical Somerset is. Some say
Right.
that it is a portal to the fairy land of Summerland, where magic is performed. Others, are jealous of the fact that what would normally be called the Count of Somerset is called the King of Somerset. So there's a lot to be said about king's blood and nobility, and while being a sort of petty king is one thing, the title of king does carry a lot of weight, especially as a guest.
My thoughts is it would have to be quite a bit of silver, I feel, to make it worth the trouble of attacking our neighbor, our direct neighbor.
I would tend to agree. So then the question is, do we feel that it would help relations between Salisbury and Somerset if we popped in at court and let them know?
Gwent
Perhaps.
leans in and says, we could simply send a messenger.
I think if we are going to.
Would you believe a messenger who showed up at Salisbury, that just a messenger showing up with a message saying, "Oh, your most prized trade lines are going to be attacked"? I don't know that I would if such a message showed up at Salisbury with no one to back it up.
I think that sort of warning is one of those things that, whether you believe it or not, it's hard to ignore, and it's hard to take no action, especially because those who advise you or those who are in your orbit will see if you take no action and then you stand to be wrong. That weakens a lord's power. So I think that the warning itself is all right. I also think that if we were to travel to Sarum to ask the Countess what she would do, she would ask for our counsel. So I feel confident that we can make a decision here and explain our reasoning to the Countess later. Without wanting to, I mean, I'm not keen to attack our ally, but there must be a way to turn this information to the advantage of Salisbury, perhaps a finder's fee, so to speak.
So you say we should not only tell them about the problem, but offer to help solve
I think that would be the neighborly and godly thing to do.
Well, we can
But
certainly keep our eyes open on the road. If we pass any caravans or mule trains carrying silver, keep an eye out for those who might attack them.
Sounds like we're going to be hitting the road from the wrong direction.
Is heraldry a thing at this point? Do you guys have the herald skill? I think I would take a heraldry roll from all three of you about the King of Somerset.
Well,
That's a failure from me.
Keep.
but hold on a sec. It's one of those things where if we roll and roll badly, you're going to give us bad information because we've only got
Yeah,
threes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I get terrible information.
All right, James. I recognize your griping. Sure. You don't know that much about the Count of Somerset, the so-called king, but you do know this. There are people who say he's almost a century old, and this one's the big one. He is not a knight. There are few lords in Britain who are not knight, and none of them are kings, except for King Cadwy.
How strange.
How strange indeed.
I think if we see something happen along the road, we deal with it. We send a message to King Cadwy, let him know that the silver mines themselves may not be in danger, but his trade routes might be. And then we, head back to Sarum and Salisbury and home.
I agree.
Very well.
So can you guys hear the fact that my son decided to practice his trumpet right outside my door? No. Good.
But it doesn't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing, so.
Yeah, this is an 11-year-old. There is no swing. There is only bad notes.
I was a trombone player, so, I get it. You've chosen this path in life, both of you together to have walked it.
I managed to convince him none of my kids learn the violin because
I also played the violin and the trombone. Wow. Feels like I would not have been welcome in the house of James.
I'm just saying that like an inexperienced violinist is a well, it's not dangerous, but it's
great. What do you have to say about the fucking harmonica, James?
Did you play that too, AP?
Yeah, of course I played that too.
Look, I played a lot of instruments when I was younger, and I asked my mother recently if she wanted to come along to my son's like band recital at school, and she's like, I spent enough time going to like 10-year-olds band recitals when you were young. I don't want to put myself through that horror again now.
Sick. Absolute recognition. All right, so just to confirm, your plan is to pen a letter and send it to King Cadwy, informing him that there may be villains preparing to attack the transport from the silver mines.
Yes.
Okay. All right. You continue on your way with no interruptions unless the cast has an interruption. You arrive to find the castle of Marlborough at the top of a small grassy hill. It is posted in defense of Wanborough, nearby, basically unwalled, completely undefended major city on the King's Road. It's not clear, who decided this insane choice of not defending a major city at all, but Wanborough is essentially the largest of all of the cities here. And Thebert comes out to greet you, Kendric. It has probably been, 5 years since the last time you've seen this guy? Maybe more?
Yeah, I think probably more.
Normally,
it was 492, 493, I think.
You'd say he's probably put on about 30 pounds, except for the fact that there's some weight missing from his right arm because it's not there anymore.
Ooh.
And it is clear that he is convalescing from horrifying wounds, a scar across his face from clearly something has cut like this, and it cut deeply into his cheek. He is helped by a much younger wife, and several children have come out to see who you are as well. There are several like men at arms and at least one Leal knight who has come out to assemble, and if they don't know who you are, so they've come to block your path. You can hear Thebert going, "It's all right. It's all right. That's just my good friend, Sir Kendric. I suspect this is his order of the axe. Come on up. Come on up, young man. It's been so... When did I last see you? Terrible? Come, come. You have to understand, wife, we wintered together. It's a thing men do on campaign. You see men shit together on campaign. That's something the High King told me personally. When you don't know a man until you see him shit on campaign together, and piss as well. And I saw Sir Kendric shit many times, many times. You'll need a good place to sleep for the night. Arrange a room for him if you could, please." And he's like just grousing with his wife and family. He seems to be in good spirits despite the fact that he is definitely like absolutely messed up by whatever has happened to him.
Mm-hmm. It's good to see you again, Sir Thebert.
Yes, it is. It is good to see you again as well. Please come into my hall. Let us get you a drink and some bread and salt, whatever guest right you need.
We appreciate the hospitality, sir.
I suspect you do. I suspect you do. You look like a dog's breath.
We have been on the road for quite some time.
So it is with men going up and down the King's Road. You've come at a good time. I'm thinking of retiring and passing this castle to my son. It's about time for him to be a true knight, a full knight. It's about that age. And I think that Devon was my last battle. I think it's done there.
That is, I'm saddened to hear that, Earl Thebert, but I'm sure your son, with your wise guidance, will be up to the task.
Oh, he doesn't need guidance from an old man like me. No. I held my position through accounting of blood, and High King Uther awarded me several manors, Surat Tintagel, Otneys, Devon, all God now. Those lands may belong to me on paper and by church record, but I hold them in no way, shape, or form. And he looks at his left hand. I never will again. No.
I remember if he was right-handed.
He was right-handed. I mean, being left-handed is a sin in this time period.
Sure,
so,
yeah, that's fair.
Unless he was a pagan.
Well, if there is ever a new High King, I'm sure that should your son pursue his rights, there will be an accounting for that.
Oh, perhaps it will be, but for one of the only few left alive who have seen the young prince, Arthur was his name, was it not?
It was.
Ah, God help him, wherever he might be.
Indeed. Shall we go to the castle?
Yes, of course. Let's have you sit down and we can arrange a bath for you. It seems like it's been about a month. It's normal for a man to have a bath once a month.
I would be very appreciative.
So the 5 of you, I'm including Gwent in these numbers, and of course Sir Thebert himself, all sit down and are all given bread and salt, a nice, quickly prepared meal of like salted meats and whatever could be quickly made in a kitchen, and he just is plying you with drinks, still like someone who isn't used to having to eat left-handed and like do everything left-handed, just trying to embarrassingly play off the fact that he can't really use his left arm that well.
Sure.
And just as telling you tales of what happened during the battle. You can tell he's kind of avoiding saying where he was in the battle, but based on what you're hearing, it sounds like he had to go up against Salisbury's knights personally. Like, he led the right flank, and the Baron Wheel led the left flank of the opposing army, which meant they went head to head. And, you know, he's like, the enemy commander. Oh. There's no artistry there. There's no, what would you call it? No brilliant tactics. Just held his ground well, held his ground well. Riders came out of woods behind us, somewhere from the forest, and just cut my unit down. We barely knew it was happening until the lances were in us. Some wild warrior woman engaged me herself, cut my cheek and took my arm.
I see.
Well, I doubt I'll see the Morris Forest anytime again, but I shall burn whatever I can of it, if the king would let me. Damn woods. Did I tell you? They came out of the woods. They rode out, shining like dark tempests coming behind us.
They rode out of the woods. That's not usually something cavalry does.
No. We hadn't thought to check it. We had sent scouts through and they'd come back, but no.
Could I make like a battle roll?
Yeah.
Failure.
I mean, there's a few things you know about Baron Wheel. All right. Number one, he's a completely uninspired man. Number two, you are scheduled to duel him next Christmas.
Correct.
Even though you are technically owe him on paper, you know, lip service fealty to him, the two of you did promise to meet before that, and no one has rescinded that. And number three is that this is a person who cares way less about battles and way more about the movement of people and logistics. It seems like he's basically devoted his entire life to running Salisbury long enough that everyone doesn't starve and die. So the idea of him coming up with some sort of brilliant out-of-the-woods masterstroke is far beyond someone of his caliber.
Do I feel like the warrior woman he's describing is as that Dame Titania?
Well, listen, here's the thing. You failed your roll.
Yeah.
But there is no intelligence stat in King Arthur Pendragon.
Right.
I can't tell
like
you
Dame
what
Titania.
you think. Okay.
But I feel like I'm just gonna let Earl Thebert believe that it was his counterpart's idea to come out of the woods when it was really probably Dame Titania's.
I think you're hearing from him that he also doesn't believe that it was Baron Wheel's idea. Like, he's like, yeah, the enemy commander, he stood in a line and he held the line, and when the whole line moved back, he moved back, and when it moved forward, he moved forward, and he rotated his men out regularly. He worked like a clock, which probably is a thing that exists in this time, but if not, he moved with the regularity of the tides. He knows the basics, and that's about it. No. Whoever came out of those woods, whoever led that charge,
They were the ones who won the battle.
yeah. I must say, I was surprised to see your colors at the battle across from me. The colors, he's looking at basically everyone here except Gwent. All of your colors at the battle, I should say. Am I mistaken in thinking that men-at-arms and knights that served you have all arrived at the field across from me?
Other Salisbury knights, I believe, fought in the battle, but no.
I think we all sent some of our levies
Yes,
to participate.
to get paid.
Yeah.
Am I
But,
crazy,
like,
Kendric?
no, like, but like they would not have been bearing Sir Kendric's colors. Like they would have been bearing
No,
their
give
own
me this.
heraldry.
Give me this
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that this guy has
But
to
so yes,
watch your
like
flag charging
sure.
at him going, not like this, no. Not my most favored prodigy son. Not the one that I raised at Terrible those many winters ago through Christmas.
Uh, indeed, it was the decision that that Salisbury would fight against Devon in this. I am sorry that you were on the other side, old friend.
Oh no, you're too young to remember it, but in the times before Aurelius, now that was a commander. In the times before Aurelius and Uther arriving. Men turning against each other, knights fighting knights, that sort of thing happened all the time. I was a young man then, but I remember it well. And I suppose the time of knights fighting knights has come once more.
Should be noted, sir, that Salisbury did not send knights to aid either side. All our knights were given the choice to join the battle if they wished. We simply asked our liege to decide upon one side so that the knights that joined would not face each other on the battlefield.
Wise, it is often said that the Lady of Salisbury receives wise counsel and makes good decisions. I hold nothing against any of you. I welcome you into my house at peace.
Nor be you, sir. We are all knights here.
Knights and, to some extent, good Christian men, and if not good Christian men, good men. It feels like that Christmas is so long ago, Sir Kendric. Very long indeed.
It was. Many good men have died since then.
Come now, didn't you have a girl back in Terrible around that time after you slew the Duke, or as close to it as the story would tell, a young woman?
I did.
Whatever happened to her?
I believe I arranged a marriage for her to a local. I don't remember if it was an artisan or perhaps as an esquire, a local esquire who would take her in.
It was a good decision for you to make. My wife died recently, and I just got remarried. A young, noble merchant's daughter. Merchant man. Some small claim on the blood. A distant cousin, and, well, it seems like that was a wise decision, as now we need the money. I fear that the battles in Devon are hardly over, and next year it will be County Jagant. I will probably not ride there myself, but I must ask Sir Kendric that just a poor former superior's request. If you cannot ride on the side of the Queen, at least not ride at all. So I will not stop you, nor will I curse you. I just beg you. Has the Queen Igraine not suffered enough? And now she must watch as Logris falls apart to petty infighting. There are not many of us old warriors like you and I left. Men of honor who serve King Uther, the High King. High King, Uther. Now it is all banditry and young men who did not have time to gain their father's wisdom and instead listen to their uncle's yearnings for power. Men who don't know honor, who barely know battle.
I will give you my word that should King Idris ride for Jagant, that I will not ride for him. I cannot guarantee that I will ride against him, because I cannot say what the the Lady of Salisbury will command, but
No,
I will not
no,
ride for
you
him.
are right. I am foolish to ask you for such an oath. It's a bitter old man. Do not worry about it. I hold you nothing to your word here. You do what you have to. No, there is no High King to follow, and you must follow your liege oaths, your loyal oaths. Come, this is a dark discussion. Let us hear again the tale of the young wolf who slew the treacherous duke.
Sure. Kendric will actually he'll sing some songs.
Okay. Do you have songs that you have to sing, or?
I mean, I have singing, and I have like I'm
Okay.
sure that there
Let's
are.
do singing. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
we already know several songs being written about Kendrick
That's
and
right.
his mace size. Sorry, his club size. What was it
hammer,
again?
Hammer.
The hammer.
The hammer.
The hammer. Right, his hammer size. And there are several plays about him being a sort of wolf sorcerer.
Could I perhaps impassion hospitality here?
Interesting. I'm not sure. My understanding. I'll have to
Can I
read
make a
it.
case?
Yes, but I would like to make my case first.
Yes, go
My
ahead.
understanding of hospitality was the other way around. You don't do it when you're the guest, you do it when you're the host. But I am going to go look up hospitality.
Yeah, so my case is as I think it goes both ways. Like you can be a good guest and a good host.
You've heard it both
and
ways,
I feel
yes.
like Earl Thebert is in a bad place right now.
He is in a bad place.
So that I would like to sing the Gorge Man's wife. I would like to raise his spirits by singing.
According to the laws of hospitality, the visitor must be civil and not insult his host. This place that he stays in is sacrosanct to the person that lives in it. All right. I will allow for it. But,
Okay.
of course, you do know if you fail this, it will be bad, right?
Yes, yes. So I succeed on impassioning hospitality, which gives me +5. And I succeed at my singing.
Okay.
So I sing.
Sing songs about yourself, apparently.
Well, and like I sing songs about the good old days, right, when things were happier and
Right,
we were
of course.
we were
You
all
sing
friends
songs
and,
that remind you of the good times, and you sing songs that
sing
remind you of the better
remind you
times.
Yeah.
At the end of it, you're both rolling around on the floor, drunk. Is there anything anyone else wants to do with Sir Thebert of Marlborough?
No, I'm good.
Is his son that he's talking about handing the county or whatever Marlborough Earl is? Oh, is he here?
Yes.
And
Yes.
is he like 20? Is he of knightly age?
He's like 19 years old.
Okay, so maybe a little bit early, but that's not unprecedented.
The Squire Luke, yes. It's not unprecedented.
Okay.
I mean, in the end, when his father thinks he's ready,
Yeah, that's the. Yeah.
Sing the Bear and the Maiden Fair. I was just talking about that song last night at Ale and Tail Tavern. Unfortunately, they don't sing that song in this universe because there is no King Robert. When we return from break, we're going to move one step closer to the edge of the end of this year, which has truly lasted months in and out of character. Stick around for the middle part. All right, for those of you watching live, Picking Time Bob Gaming, who is also a big Pendragon campaign runner, who's running his Arthuriana meta campaign, is joining us here watching my nonsense. If you don't follow him on YouTube, you absolutely should, and it shouldn't be that hard to find him because I post our monthly Gentlemen of the List BattleTech games. So you can head on over there and get you too can see what Summerland is like on the fairy side.
Mm-hmm. There's actually the Gathering of Branches campaign is very, very interesting, I feel like, because it's not what you normally get from a Pendragon campaign.
You travel back to Salisbury without issue, but it is a strange time. There are few and far between patrols, and it is not because no one could patrol them, it is because Silchester is at peace. It would seem that Ulfius's alliance with Sussex has paid out many dividends, and they have essentially sent their constantly vigilant army back home to farm, and the lords who are left to teach the younger lords and their children how to run things. It is a bit iffy going through Levkamagus. None of you are particularly welcome there, and Kendric especially is personally reviled. People like spit in his path as he goes past, and one particularly crotchety old man's like, "That's him! That's Kendric! Sir Kendric, they call him! Lord of Horse Poop, if I've ever seen it!" Who just verbally harasses you as you go past.
Yeah. Not well liked around Levkamagus, I am.
Yeah, well, you may have done some things. Look, I'm looking at your character sheet. Do I see hatred of Silchester or anything like that there?
Suspicious of Silchester.
Yes, well, turns out the people of Levkamagus may have suspicious of Salisbury. You all make it back home. I would like to... I don't know whether to do the like end of year solo scenario now or do it after the like Christmas feast. I'm never really sure how to time these because it seems weird to just be like, and this is a flashback to earlier in the year.
What does your heart tell you?
And I think my heart tells me to just run the end of year stuff the way it should be because I already fuck it up constantly. My heart tells me that it's Christmas time. Everyone thought last year was dark and difficult, but in fact, this year is worse. The departure of Merlin is greeted darkly. It is not a good time. And the word that the three of you were all infected and turned into werewolves and then had to chase down that werewolf and butcher him on the cliffs of the western side of the country is... It kind of brings things down. With that said, there are some slight positive turnarounds to be noted. Each of you will receive 10 glory now for being lords whose people successfully helped defeat the Earl of Devon. You also, anyone that sent knights, so these are knights, not men-at-arms, not levies, not anything like that. Anyone that sent a knight receives a personalized gift of 2 Libra from Prince Mark of Cornwall. So this is the son of the king, has decided to send any successful knight that was deployed, he sends their lord a gift of 2 Libra.
Trying to go back through my notes to try and remember what I sent.
And that's just if you sent any.
If
knights,
you sent
it's not
any,
per
right?
night.
Like they're not like
Okay.
they're not. If you sent 5 knights, he still only sends 2 Libra. It's just like a gift. Like, hey, thanks for my dad
Yeah,
really needed
thanks for
your
showing
help.
up.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for showing up.
I appreciate you coming out and helping my dad.
Yeah, thanks for joining the winning team. Probably. You know what? That is almost certainly what the letter says in sort of archaic medieval language. Like, thanks for joining the winning team. Hope to see you again next year. Love, Prince Mark. XOXOXO. The Countess seems to be of the opinion that due to the incredible turnaround of economics by Baron Will, that the county coffers will have enough to pay for tribute to Sussex next year without needing to rely on donations from everyone. That enough lords have been stabilized and are paying their taxes, that enough business is being done, and that enough goods are being imported through the ports in South Salisbury specifically due to the Goesi. Like, the Goesi moving in have strangely been good for business.
Fair enough.
Is there anything anyone wants to do at the Christmas court? Oh, yes. Gwgan, you yourself, I didn't get to finish my poem about you, but there are numerous poems that are in the same way that Bear and the Maiden Fair is obviously about, you know, King Robert and his wife. There is a poem written about you called The Bastion of Silver, Bastion of Steel, that is, it is about the Countess. It's about a countess, of course, not any particular countess, but a countess from a green land untouched by war, and her very loyal Castellan, right? And she's always hanging out with the Castellan's nephew, a man whose cup she sips from heartily, sort of deal. Like, it's filled with a shit ton of euphemisms about the two of yours relationship. That sort of deal. Instead of stuff about Kendric being a wolf demon sorcerer, in this year it's about you. And it's not about the fact that you killed a Christian woman in a peace-bound church. It's about the fact that you're having an affair with a woman who is your social superior.
So is it portrayed? Is it like is it a romance thing, or is it a scandal?
It's an opiate of the masses. It's sort of, for those who want it to be a comedy, it's a comedy. For those who want it to be a romance, it's a romance. You know, it kind of depends on the bard that's playing it. The one that's being portrayed in the court is like a low-key romance version, and you could see that some of the people who understand what the song's about are like, hee 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 hee. And some people are like, damn, this is a good song. Everything rhymes. I wish the author had finished it.
It's the feel-good holiday rom-com.
Well, you see, if it was a Lifetime movie, the Countess would move to the countryside, become less educated, and would settle. So I suppose this is actually a Lifetime movie. Is there anything any of you would like to do at the Christmas court? Because for every good thing that has happened, an equally or worse bad thing has happened to people here.
At some point, probably before Christmas court, Kyned will have reported back into the Countess with all of the various rumors that he has managed to pull together over the last year.
Okay. So she has received a letter from King Cadwy thanking her for the use of her spy master in regards to your intelligence that you sent, and that it was useful in helping deter several bandit groups from attacking along the road. And King Cadwy says that he has sent blessings in the forms of fairies to her. What that means is anyone's guess.
Hey, it's nothing but good.
Okay, pagan.
That's right.
I should have said it like, okay, boomer. Okay, pagan. Blessing in the form of fairies. Yeah, sure. What's that going to give me? A +5 at the end of the year?
I think Kendric gathers Kyned and Gwgan, and says, "I have some gifts for you. My wife, they're from both of us, but mostly they're from Lady Griona." And he pulls out 2 silver crosses on necklaces and hands them to each of you. Sir Kyned, I know you are a recent convert, and I would like to support my brother in his new faith. And I wish you nothing but the best.
This is a princely gift. Thank you so much.
Indeed. Thank you, my brother. It's I feel awkward I did not bring... I don't know. Do we usually exchange Christmas gifts among us? Is that it's part of our?
We have before, but it's not like I don't think it's like a yearly thing. And I mean,
Yeah, okay.
I imagine we'd have like some sort of like Christmas tradition, but not like nothing super special.
Okay.
I would even remind you that Sir Thebert gave you gifts at Christmas all the way back in
Yes.
Terrible that many years ago.
Yeah.
Perhaps
And
that tradition has been continuing off camera,
think-
and we flash back now to all of the gifts given.
Well, and I know Kendric a few years ago got swords for all the
Yes,
Order
yeah.
of the Axe members.
And you bought
That was-
a guild hall. Somebody bought a guild hall. For...
Yes, Kendric did. Well, and Gwgan also helped with that. So there's a guild hall for the Order of the Axe at Pitton.
It's like a hunting lodge, really.
Yeah. But they are worth 1 Libra each.
That's good silver right there.
Yep.
Some say it was made out of ore or blessed by a descendant of Joseph of Arimathea, or sent by good King Cadwy, perhaps.
Perhaps this will be a fortuitous year in that the county seems to be recovering and getting back onto its feet.
You
Let's
say
hope
that,
so.
and then you look over at Baron Will, who looks to be aging 3 years for every year he spends living. You can just see
man.
he's going through, like, he's at the feast. Everyone's, like, quietly enjoying themselves, and he's doing paperwork at the table. Just, like, hands wet with ink.
Yeah.
You could hear him just say, who's going to pay for all this? The turkey?
It's
Are they
amazing.
even native to this part of England? Merlin!
I'll have to yell a lot louder. He's on the continent now.
I mean, at this point, Merlin is somewhere in the Mediterranean. We cut to Merlin. He's just sunbathing on a Zibek,
He's got like
crossing
a drink
Lantine
with
winds.
with an umbrella in it.
Oh, because he's anachronistic, it's probably like a pineapple or some fruit completely unavailable at this time. All right. Let's do end of year so that all these people who have been sitting there, fingers above their Excel spreadsheets, can finally stop getting edged.
Oh, holy crap. I gotta, like, hide my book and shit.
Yeah, right.
So we do have solo scenarios to cover first, and then we do experience rolls. So I have a solo scenario for each of you. Glimo, for you, you have so many children now, so many that you've adopted. You've adopted your uncle's son, your nephew. You adopted several of your cousins' children who all hate you. You have your own children now who aren't even your own heirs. So my question is, just like it was last year, how do you propose to get these children to love you? Because as we know, they are all united in murdering you at some point and seizing power.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm asking what skill, passion, talent, what virtue you would put forward to get these children on your side.
I think Kyned is just gonna keep going with the classics, even though it's never worked so far. And just try love of family.
Okay, let's make that roll.
Hey, I actually got a success this time.
I would like a follow-up, let's call it orate roll.
Oh, Jesus.
Relax, you have a success. That's a 16 plus is like a plus 10, right?
No, it's still only a
No,
plus
it's only
5 on
if you
roll
a
plus
regular
5.
success.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, success in orates.
This is not representing you like giving long speeches before the children, but I just feel like Kyned is someone who, I hate to say he's like a weaselly spy, but he is someone who observes others, and I think he's starting to get an idea of what's going on, and just like sits quietly with the kids sometimes and gives them real, like, true life lessons of all of the hardships he's had on his rise to becoming the lord of the house. And the kids listen. And now they don't love you immediately. I mean, your own kids love you for sure, and your nephew definitely loves you because you just, you've literally made him the successor to a big house. But these other kids, they're starting to hear you for you, not stories that they heard from their mother, not things servants have turned against you. They listen to you, and you have things to say. And they're like, this is a little different than how we were told. Maybe he's not so bad after all. So you have 1 success, 1 failure. Congratulations. I thought they were both killed by berserkers.
Yeah, I'm having
The
trouble
berserker kill
remembering
count's
now.
really good on this show.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
shockingly.
because I wait, no, Kyned was Harad's half brother.
Yes.
So then my brother fell from the battlements of a castle. Oh man.
So for Gwgan, there is a question now about your relationship with Robert.
Mm-hmm.
Robert's approaching the age of 10 sort of deal. This is a boy who remembers his father, but it's becoming sort of distant. And to be quite frank, the boy is not stupid. He has recognized that you've spent years, how can I use modern language viciously, orbiting his mother, and perhaps more than orbiting his mother sort of deal. Like, I don't think it's any secret to anybody that you have amour for Ellen, right? How far that goes, I don't know that we've explored that. We've certainly made a lot of implications, but I think that there is a question here as to what Robert sees you as. Whether you're a stepdad, a sort of family uncle, or whether you're like a trusted mentor and knight. I'm curious as to how you would like to present yourself to this boy. And it can be more than those choices I just listed.
Yeah. I think we had this conversation last year.
Yeah, but I want to keep locking it in because it's awkward.
Yeah. Or I did the whole, I'm not trying to replace your dad type thing. I think that Gwgan tries to be, with the exception of the fact that he's, adulterous, a male role model to Robert. Not to try
models? Are you kidding? Not I just told you that.
Not to try and earn himself a position, but simply to make sure that Robert has, and I'm sure Robert has teachers and scholars and the like, but I guess to be a knight role model. I think also, as he's still only 10 years old, and I have similarly aged children, Gwgan would be trying to, occasionally bring his own children to court to be part of Robert's orbit, very Brady Bunch style. Yours, mine, and ours.
Huh. Wow, it's been such a long time since I've had a Brady Bunch reference.
It's getting out of fashion.
Now, am I correct in thinking that your heir spoon is Tathan?
Oh, that is correct.
Okay. So Tathan's what, like 13 years old now? 12, 13?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, 12, 13.
He is at that age of rebellion. And just to be fair to you, it's not like you're never, like, non-present, but he certainly spends much more time with his mother and the nights back at home than he does with you. I mean, you just spent a huge portion of the year out delivering Merlin, werewolfing, all of that crazy stuff, the trip back. I mean, in-game, that really only took like a week or two, but we assume that you've been doing a lot during the year.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, Tathan has made a surprising declaration that he is a spiritual boy and has begun painting himself. Now, again, to be clear, he's saying that he's a spiritual boy, and then he's using like mud and expensive paints and his mother's makeup to paint himself in what he assumes is like pagan imagery. You know, like 2 white lions for the warrior, the spirit of the bear, and then like running around and terrorizing all of your other children. And Gwiona is just looking at you like, this is really your fault. So I'm asking you how you want to solve this. And based on how you roll, I will allow you to mark down some sort of modifier to his future statistics.
Okay. Oh, okay. Let's
How
see.
do you want to deal with this rebellious young spiritualist pagan?
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably empathize someone like Nuada or something.
Yeah. So I think like Kendric will like have basically sit down with him and like have just like an honest conversation of like, is this the path that you want to choose? Is this like, do you truly want to be pagan? Because if you do, I can show you how to do it the right way. Or if you choose the way of the cross, you know, I won't love you any less. Because, you know, all of my friends are Christian.
I have Christian friends.
Yeah, was thinking it, but I didn't want to say it. I think this gives you an opportunity to make either like a spiritual or perhaps even like a forgiving roll here.
Okay.
And with the note that whichever roll you make is going to push his statistic by 1 in either direction. So if you fail, he's going to go 1 in the opposite.
Okay.
Boone's wife is Christian, but that's the crux of this whole matter. Is that the kid is rebelling and saying he's a pagan. But he's not a real pagan. He's one of these new age pagans that runs around painting their faces and screams while hitting people.
I'd say the cross of the whole matter, in fact. You say crux.
Ah, yes, the crux of the cross.
I will go with spiritual.
Okay. How spiritual are you? Should I open your sheet?
Slightly more spiritual than usual.
Not great. It's not great.
No. It's better than forgiving, though. You can't impassion a trait roll like this, can you?
I think that you specifically talked about love of family here.
Yep.
But like every other time someone has impassioned so far, I will warn you, the consequences for failure on this roll are dire. I mean, this isn't just any, like, yes, going into battle and failing a passion roll could be really bad. This is about the future of your heir.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, failing the, like, so what are the consequences of failing this? Like you're talking about the consequences of failing the passion roll, not necessarily failing the spiritual roll.
Yeah. If you fail the passion roll here,
well,
I think your son is going to see that maybe you don't love your family as much as you proclaim to. Like you're tired.
So I think in that case, because I'm not particularly like me as a player, and I think Kendric as a knight is not particularly like he is not. I guess I won't impassion because I was literally about to say he's not very passionate about whether Tathan becomes a pagan or whether Tathan becomes a Christian.
Okay.
That's up to the boy to decide.
You want to give him a decision, but you don't really care which way he falls.
No,
Because you have Christian friends.
I will, yeah, and he's my son. I'll love him regardless. So, you're spiritual failure.
You're my son, I'll love you regardless, is what my mother said when I came out as a carnivore. And then she said, you do have to eat vegetables or you'll die. And I said, but the Velociraptor on TV told me I could just eat eggs. Yeah, so he's gonna become more worldly as a result. I feel like you sit down and you teach him the true ways, and it's not like he becomes a Christian. Instead, he's just like, damn, this stuff sucks. I thought it was running around and hitting people with stuff and like shouting loudly, but you keep talking about people with silver arms and being good at hunting, and it just kind of wanders off in the middle of some of your lectures, and it's never brought up again.
Yeah. Okay.
So note down that when your son becomes a knight character, when everything else is done for him, his spiritual will go down by 1 and his worldly will go up by 1. I'm borrowing this mechanic from Crusader Kings 3, where I've borrowed several of our mechanics so far. Let's do experience rolls. And I think we forget to do this from time to time. Don't forget to roll for your wife. Don't forget to roll for your estates.
First we have to do the manor, because their manors give us checks and things.
Yes. Go wild, kids.
I mean, yeah. So you're supposed to do experience checks before you do the financial circumstances, but make sure you record any checks you have from the manor first.
From the manor improvements. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now as my rolls. All right, so that
pop off, Dukes.
Doesn't help me.
Now feels like a great time to open my phone to Fate Grand Order.
Okay, so that does give me a check in spiritual, and I already have a check there. Okay.
Hey, my family goes up by 1.
Okay, so now we're doing experience rolls before we do money.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Spiritual goes up.
Energetic does not go up. Love of family does not go up. Hospitality
goes
criticals,
up
but does
and
not
becomes well known.
Loyalty, Order of the Axe does not go up. Love Gwiona does go up.
Oh shit! You think you can just go around loving your wife and shit?
Uh-huh. Top courtesy does not go up. Fairy lore does. It almost did not. Flirting does not. Hunting does not.
Goes up.
Oh, I see that James's character has game now. As everyone knows, a 6- is a great roll.
That was a roll to get a check. So I didn't get a check.
Sword does not go up. And Lance goes up. Nice. And I think that's it for me.
Oh, so close.
The irony of becoming less Christian but more spiritual, James. What must that be like? Ah, right. You don't believe in the bureaucracy of the church. You have a personal connection to God. He told you to kill that woman.
Well, that's good.
Ooh. Did your Amor Ellen just
No, he did it twice.
Yeah. No, so I did it once to get the check, and then again to do the actual check.
Yeah.
So I got the check and it went up. So I'm one step away from being famous. If I get enough glory, I might buy it since there's now poems are written about it. being famous for my Morabellin.
Yeah.
I mean, note that famous is like nationwide, not just in the county. I mean, if you want the whole country to know that you're cheating on your wife, sure.
It's not about the chance. It's about how much I love Ellen.
Of course,
yeah.
of course. That you feel romantic feelings for a woman who isn't your wife, which is, you know, in this time period, totally legitimate, as long as you don't act on it. Was your lustful increasing?
No. So these were all to get checks. So I didn't get a check in those ones. Because I have a Connie Garth, so I get a chance to check in Cowardly and Lustful.
Yeah.
All right, so now we do the NPCs.
Yes.
Yeah, so my wife's stewardship went up by 1.
And after it's above a 15, it only goes up on a
6 on a D6.
6 on a D6.
Yeah.
You can't go above a 20 on those, can you?
You can if you roll a 20 on a D20.
Gotcha. Okay. Nope. Okay.
Right, I've done all experience checks for me, and I was on fire with the things I checked. I didn't do so well on the things that like I had a chance of getting checks in from enhancements, but yeah, I had lots of things got for the first round. So I had what went up? My love of family, my more of Ellen, my fairy lore, my falconry, my this was there, love of God. So yeah, I had a on fire.
See, I had just love Guiona and Lance went up.
My spiritual went up, so therefore my worldly went down. My loyalty lord went up to a 16, so I'm now well known for that.
Nice.
My fairy lore and my falconry both went up.
Cool.
All right.
All right. On to financial circumstances.
Sure.
So we need to do the.
Normally let you guys run this part, I think, right? This is the other book that I haven't bothered to learn because you guys know it so well.
So first we need to do is work out the our anticipated income.
Yes. I need...
It's certainly better than the unanticipated income. You never know what's going to happen in that case.
one. And 1. 4. 6.
Good roll on the dairy herd this year.
It's got a huge cost as the main problem with the dairy herd.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and it's risky. It's risky versus, because if you roll poorly, you have you lose money. we roll for population growth now?
No, that's the last thing.
Okay. So that's 11 plus 14.
All right, AP, we need the weather.
3d6 plus 5? Is that what that is?
I believe so, yeah.
Yep.
Let me just check to make sure there's no weather modifiers for this particular year. It looks like there are none. Very well. Get modified. That's a pretty average roll.
AP already reduces that by 1, I believe.
Yes. So that goes in the fake column, correct?
It does, yes.
Okay. And then we roll.
Concern my commoners.
I thought we rolled for luck, manorial luck.
So we haven't done manorial luck, or so, yeah, we have to do the luck and conflict stuff first. So
Okay, so concern my commoners fail.
for manorial luck, I had no result.
I had a 5.
Which is no result.
Okay.
6.
6, you got a benefit, Glimo.
Hey, nice.
Roll a d20.
Three.
3 is Liege Lord visits and gives you 2 treasure. Add to treasury.
Nice.
Oh, it's always nice when Countess Ellen shows up at your house giving gifts.
There's the same version, which is on the Calamity side, which Liege Lord visits cost you 6 libra.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Failed. I had, so misfortune failed, and I got a success. So I had a good year, which is good because I had a terrible year last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got crushed last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
I also had a good year because I got the same results.
Misfortune fumbled. Stewardship succeeded.
You had an excellent year then.
Nice.
How'd you do, Kendric?
I had a good year
Okay, which means you
so yeah, my misfortune failed and my stewardship succeeded.
yeah, which means you can still test the chance of getting more people.
Yes. Oh,
You do.
grows.
So first off, the population is there. Now you need to do a censorship roll. Sorry, what do you call it? A census roll. So that is it's a D20, and the chance of success is 2 times the amount of libra you pay for the census.
Right.
So if you pay 10 libra, it's guaranteed.
I will pay the 10 libra to guarantee it.
Okay.
Because having that population go up is big.
Yeah. Which permanently increases the income of the land by 1.
Yes. So I'll mark that down. Money. Because I would have had to have that 10 available prior to getting the money from the harvest this year, correct?
No, because you have to roll the harvest first. Because if you like with me last year, I had 5 years straight Omega Plus, but then I got a very bad year, which means I couldn't test for population growth. Yeah, okay. So it happens after. It's literally the last step in the land process. So I am not building any new things this year.
First time I've had money in like forever, but I
Yeah, I
don't
know.
have anything to build.
that we aren't like, okay, we've got to save to pay for the ransom.
Still get worse.
Let's see here. I don't think there's anything I want to build. Uh, yeah, I don't think there's anything I want to build, so I will pass.
Okay.
All right. So I think that we are all done now with
Aging.
aging now. So we all got a year.
If you're 35 or older, you got to roll 2d6. The closer you are to the middle, the better.
I think I joined
yes.
Kyned on this.
35 and up, so you are in the shit, my friend.
Yeah, I was gonna say I joined Kyned on this, rolling on the aging chart now.
8, no effects.
10, I have 2 attributes affected.
Okay. Shock.
So I think it's a D6 per attribute.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's appearance and dex.
That's a brutal loss on Dex.
Yeah.
Some say you've got the palsies.
Nah, my dex is still a 10.
Okay. And then after you've made that decision, how is everyone maintaining themselves this year? Superlative, rich, ordinary, poor, impoverished.
Like you have to ask.
I guess since I've got money this year, I'm going superlative.
Yep.
Now,
Superlative
we
here
are
as
using
well.
the 5.2 rules, which I think ensures that you can't completely get out of childcare rules.
No, they still die on a 1.
Yes, they still die on a 1. No one has any special horses, although if you have a horse that you favor, you can roll for it.
How much is superlative again? 11?
It's 12. It's extra 6 on top of what
Okay.
is what normally covered. Yeah.
I get the back button on 20. Hold on, we'll get that dice column back just a second. Friends at home.
Need to get my family tree out again.
Yeah,
Yep.
same.
Funny because I use the same program to cover all the players in my own Pendragon campaign, and also my own family tree for my kids to use for school. So I was going to go and find, okay, which family I'm looking at today.
So just as a reminder, at superlative, you roll +2 on horse fate, 3 on childbirth, 1 on survival, and 5 on childbirth. Yeah. This is... What? I don't know. We'll do it as it comes up.
Yeah, no children died.
Always
Right.
good. Seems like Kendrick's had a healthy year overall.
Yeah, doing pretty good. Nobody, no
Like,
children, no
Seems to
death.
have a much healthier year. Really?
No kids died.
Well, well, well. Isn't that what we all want to hear on this show? No kids died. Okay.
I didn't have to do any aging rolls to save kids this year.
Not yet. Would anyone like to have children with their wife and or kept women?
Don't think that but I think that would look good for my kept woman.
Okay. Sounds like
Why
that.
not?
Oh, okay. We have a contender stepping up.
What was the plus for superlative for childbirth again?
I believe
3?
in step 5 it's +3.
Yeah. D20 +3 going there.
That is a
No child.
4, no child.
Nope.
Okay. Let's have everyone roll a D20 for family events, and I'm almost certainly going to Crusader Kings this at some point.
Oh, no.
Scandalous rumor.
Scandalous rumor for 2 of us.
I need both of you to roll a D20 again. Wow, we don't get to do this one very often. All right, so James, there's been a marriage in your family.
Marriage. Let me look at my family tree and work out who that could be.
Okay. Glimo,
Illicit love affair.
there is a scandalous rumor. It's either about you or someone in your family about an illicit love affair. I'm going to let you cook on that one, but it has to be bad. You know, I don't care whether you describe the woman as dummy thick or not. It just has to not be good for you. Kendric, I have a rumor for you, my friend. I got one cooked for you.
Okay.
After your reappearance in Tintagel, there are rumors from Baron Blythe of Cornwall at Widegates that there is a young boy named Wolf who looks just like you. Now, this kid, born in 491, he's not that old, but they're already saying he looks like the young Wolf. It's just the hair. The hair is just so perfect. And the kid is always fighting everybody. Now, you're no saint. You have enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And you specifically have enemies in Cornwall, a land you conquered by force and absolutely fucking murdered the Duke of. Your wife knows that. She has no reason to ever believe you're unfaithful. But she is going to have to endure an entire winter of your servants and your local courts all talking about this bastard kid Wolf, who no one can really confirm if they're real or not. But you do know Baron Blythe, Cornwall, at Whitegates Manor. They say he watches over the boy.
I have an idea,
Yes?
but I want to
Yes.
ask if, James, are you okay with this?
Okay.
The Game of Thrones theme song starts playing.
So
I don't get the political intrigue of that the rumor is that Kyned is sleeping with Countess Ellen.
It bothers me not. It might bother her somewhat more. Yeah.
Robert's just like off with his head.
It may appear to be make her look like a woman of loose virtue. Or looser virtue.
I mean, it's a rumor, so it's not true, but it's certainly like.
Now, if you'd rolled a 20, the rumor would have been true, but you didn't.
So who is your squire currently, Spoon?
So I actually have two squires. I have Terwin, which I believe is one of Gwgan's cousins.
Yes, yeah, cousins.
And then a squire named Kristen.
Okay, no worries. So I have a person.
I think it's a commoner. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to have my cousin's child Tegan marry somebody, but she is 21 years old, so it's a good marrying age. I think Terwin being a squire, not a good time for marrying, despite being 18 years old.
Pretty normal to marry cousins together.
Also, is Terwin a boy or a girl?
Terwin's a girl.
Terwin's a girl. Okay.
Okay, Pokemon Professor, relax.
Choose one of these three Pokeballs.
What's your name again?
Yeah.
Terwin. Are you a boy or are you a girl? It would be wild to see like an old English version of Pokemon that's just like those weird drawings of dragons on shields that are like this the letter W. It's like a group of missing nose. Has everyone completed their family triage and rumorage, and we're sticking to Kyned and the Countess? It's time for me to write a new poem next year to follow up on Bastion of Silver, Bastion of Steel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I necessarily have any other suggestions for that. So, it's certainly spicy.
Okay. Training. You may select 1d6 plus 1 skill points to a max of 15, increasing nightly skills. 1 point in any skill to a maximum of 20, or increase in attribute, trait, or passion by 1. You cannot increase size after the age of 21.
And you cannot increase any attributes after the age of 35.
You can with glory still, though.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
All right.
Glory is the one exception.
I'm going to see if I get the 1 on the D6 plus 1 for the third time in 3 years. No. Oh, wow. I got the 7.
Hey, full 6.
Nice. I'm trying to decide if I want to bring up some of my lesser stuff or if I want to, like, bring sword to 20.
I was going to say min-max sword, my man. That's how you become Lancelot. And you're like, well, I have a sword skill of 40, so I can fight 2 people at once with a sword skill of 20.
To be fair, I believe he's critically impassioned at that point. But yes, it is pretty badass.
It's like, do I bring sword to 20? Do I bring intrigue to 17?
Get horse riding to 20 and then start playing Deja Vu at all the tournaments and teach people how to horse drift. It involves a lot of water to muddy up the track.
Yeah, I feel like I might be useful to have some of these things that I'm always failing on.
Like battle, tourney, recognize, herald.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
to name a few.
My battle's 14.
I just want to say,
Yeah, I think I'm going
if you
stats
find
too.
yourself in the opportunity where you are leading the battle, Kyned, you're in a lot of
Stats
fucking
3.
trouble, and you want to have as high a battle as possible.
No, fair enough.
Because some of the early battles, it's like King Uther, battle skill 20, Duke Ulfius, battle skill 9, and I'm like, ooh, you don't want to be in that army. You don't want to be in that army. Wow.
All right, I'm gonna go one more orate, one more recognize, and one more fairy lore just for fun.
I think I'm going to dump all 3 of mine into. Or do I max out awareness and then put 1 somewhere else?
So I put romance and flirting to 10 and compose to 15.
My man.
I think I'm going to put 2 into awareness and then 1 into recognize.
Feels like James is getting ready for the romance period in his old age, so he can just be like this, my lady, I still love you. We'll write poems about our love in my 60s. Bleh.
I feel like Gwgan is the opposite of Hero.
Hero, the true asexual champion of my shows. Aromantic, asexual, who's just like, I understand, we have a contractual romantic agreement. Would you like to go forward? Check here, yes, no. Truly the Rin Penrose. Okay. Let's add your glory in case you haven't already added it. You also generate glory from each of the solo scenarios. Everybody gets 10 for completing their solo scenario, I believe successfully in all of your cases. Spoon, you might have failed, so you're only going to get 5 glory.
Yeah.
Famous traits, passions.
So for stuff this year, the only things I had on my list was 40 from the Merlin escort,
Right?
and 10 for sending some guys to Devon.
Yes.
Yeah, I concur.
That sounds right.
Yep.
I know it seems like it took a while, but that's just because it literally took us months to finish the year.
Oh, and 5 for being recognized as an impressive alcoholic by King Lot.
Ooh, what a great note to have there. I forgot about that one. You know what? let's give everyone an extra 10 glory for being recognized by King Cadwy of Summerland. Sorry,
Nope.
Somerset. Somerset. Did anyone cross the 1,000 line?
Not today for me.
Nope.
Also, no.
Don't forget magical virtues, chivalrous, religious, that sort of deal. In case anyone's got it.
I got a whopping 200 glory.
That's
So
not bad.
That brings me to 2772.
My old calculation to make sure it's still accurate.
All right. Your Garrus Ficarian calibrations. Hold on a minute, Shepard. I have to finish these calibrations. Shepard, busy right now. Doing some calibrations. Come back later. I really want to replay Mass Effect 2 right now. Mass Effect 2 is really just friendship with Garrus Ficarian Simulator.
Yep, I'm good. 7530 is my current total.
Huh? Does anyone have any reason we wouldn't we'd take a break and come back? Like, is this one of the weeks where we need to end a little early?
As long as you finish on time, I'm fine. I've got plans half an hour after our regular finish time.
I may just call it here then, rather than put. Why are you smiling, Spoon?
I'm just laughing because it's, like this is the first time we've played in months, and then it's like, and we're ending now.
We're ending like 40 minutes early, sure, but I just don't know that I want to rush into the next, year and then get like part of the way through the Easter feast and then not see each other again for a few months. You know what I mean? I feel like if we have an opportunity to start the next session with a blank slate and just go in fresh.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I don't want to forget what I've already discussed because I will. My memory is like a sieve right now, and I'm eating these Walgreens brand ibuprofens like they're candy. So we will end early here, but hey, good news. Next year we get to meet Prince Mark. He's famous, and he's a real cool guy. You can tell because he's a prince. Any thoughts about this episode so far? Any thoughts about the next time we can meet up?
I'm actually around next week.
Say I'm good next Saturday.
All the pressure's on James
Good.
now. Just line
I'm
up at
good.
the green.
I'm good.
He puts it. It's in. We're on par.
Yep.
We'll be back next week then. Unless I have something come up.
I mean, something could come up between now and then, but I don't
Yes.
have anything.
All right. I mean, next time we're finally going to move into the year 499 and do a little Easter.
We ever make it to 500?
Listen, this is just what I heard, but in the year 500, Jesus Christ is supposed to return on January 1st and rapture everybody into heaven.
Is that so?
That's what I heard. I heard the same thing on January 1st, 2000 as well, and January 1st, 2001.
And what about 2012?
That was the Mayan end calendar year, right? I didn't hear that Jesus was going to rapture everybody then. I heard that the end of the world would come.
I see.
It's not the same thing. No closing thoughts here? All right, we're just silent.
Yeah.
What an episode.
I mean, it was a good, getting back into it. Really sad to see Earl Theber missing an arm, but those are the breaks sometimes.
Sometimes you lose a battle and you take a critical injury in the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
You asked if
It happened to
I'm
anybody.
planning.
Spoon.
You asked if I'm planning for Gwgan to go full romance in the romance era.
Yeah.
He'll be in his 70s
Yeah.
if he survives that long.
James, I don't know if you know about a place called the Villages in Florida, but I fucking guarantee you that old people still be fucking no matter what age they are. Your wife is a nurse, motherfucker. I guarantee you she has a lot to say about STDs and geriatrics.
Hey, there's a famous Broadway production called Barefoot in the Park, which it's about a young couple moving into an apartment in New York, and there's an old man which is upstairs, and the first time he meets the girl, he says she makes him wish he was 10 years older. And she said, "Why 10 years older?" He said, "Because dirty old men get away with everything."
You can't say things like that nowadays, James.
No, this was a play from the 1970s. So.
Right, yeah, you could say it in like 2010, maybe 2012, but after the world ended, you never know what you could say. Oh, listen, if that's the one takeaway we have from this episode, it's that when you're in your 70s, Gwgan will probably still be fucking.
If he's still alive.
Oh my god. We need to have a prosody jester who does skits about Gwgan and the countess. It's just like, oh, they're fucking. And then they have like a straight man who's just like, what? No. This is a really, really niche reference. Okay, well, Shadowrun isn't real, live audience. Shadowrun isn't real yet.
Can't hurt you.
And given the way the world works, we're way more likely to get Will Smith in that Netflix. Was it called Bright?
Right.
We're
Yeah.
way
Right,
more
yeah.
likely to get that than Shadowrun.
I mean, that's about as close as you're going to get to Shadowrun in a movie, I think.
Yeah, but it still wasn't that close to Shadowrun.
No.
It was good-ish. It was adjacent
Yeah, I
to
mean,
being well done.
So I would say it was enjoyable.
It was medium.
Yeah.
Maybe medium well. That's a meat joke. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. I'm
No, I
losing
get
it today.
I agree. I agree. It was a fun movie to watch.
Definitely one of the movies of all time.
How are we feeling about...
Kirkland Branch Shadowrun. Yeah, exactly, Bob. 100%.
Hey, let me be really clear. One of the stipulations to becoming a Kirkland brand of something requires it to be 1% better than the actual brand name it's replacing. So calling it Kirkland brand Shadowrun is the wrong direction.
There's a TikTok channel that's Can It Kirkland, and they try to pick usually it's alcohol. Pick which one's the Kirkland brand and which one's the brand name.
As a Costco member, I know these motherfuckers be drowning in alcohol. As a resident of the Northern Delaware Costco, because we don't have a sales tax here, and our Costco has a tire center and a liquor store and a gas station, we have people come from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. It's literally thousands of people in the parking lot. You can barely find a goddamn Delaware plate, but do they spend so much fucking money in Delaware? President Dragon, no! President Dragon!
Uncle Zahn.
Wasn't his vice president his translator? Something
No.
like that, his dragon vice president?
She becomes, so I believe she becomes vice president to Dunklazon's vice president, who becomes president when he dies.
That's how vice presidency works, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So like Kyle Hefner becomes president when Dunklazon dies, and then I believe he appoints Nacha Daviar as his vice president.
This guy knows way too much about it. It's
Look,
really
man, I love
unfortunate that
Shadowrun.
James's survey data shows that a lot of people like Shadowrun.
Well, I mean, a lot of people like cyberpunk too, so maybe it's a genre thing rather than
You're telling me people like dudes with swords and guns going around shooting each other while magic happens in the background, and someone's like, I've got the data. I've hacked it with my brain. A dolphin helped me. Now that is a fucking archaic reference right there.
Johnny Mnemonic.
Yes.
I want to say, I had an intro written months ago that was like, here's James, he's my friend, and here's why. Here's Spoon, here's my friend, and here's why. Here's Glimo. The difference between us is that he believes that a really boring guy who wrote a kind of good book is the head of Cyberpunk, and I believe a guy who wrote a book about a dude who delivers pizza while wielding a samurai sword whose last name is Protagonist is the ultimate Cyberpunk book. And we'll never agree on anything. We're divided on that point. Okay,
Look,
just
if
as long as we're talking about it, Neuromancer is a great book, but it's also a hard read. That motherfucker's dense, okay? You can kill a vampire with it. You can just beat a stake into their heart and slamming it with the book.
I do love the meme about the first line of the book, though.
Oh, the
Yes.
static?
Yeah, well, the sky above the port was the color of a television tuned to a dead channel, and it's like people are like our age, it's like the static. People that are like a bit younger than us, it's like the blue screen, no
MTV.
signal. Yeah, and then to the people nowadays, it's a YouTube channel with no viewers.
Oh, that hurts.
No,
That
that's
hurts,
just
James. Ugh. Listen, if you're not old enough to remember having to switch to your video game from Channel 3, you're not old enough for this discussion.
That said, we want to do this again.
I can pretty
you just
much
gotta-
guarantee I'm not doing 2020 again, ever.
You gotta sprinkle
Well, you're not
some
going to do red, so.
I'm definitely not going to do red. I fucking hate it.
sprinkle some elves, dwarves, trolls, and dragons in there, Glimo, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
If I was to
don't
summarize the data from the survey so far, first I would say do more battle tech. It's probably what the main thing is.
Wow, James, what an incredible statistic. There's no way anyone...
If I was to move past that, I would say that the culmination of the rest of the data is that the next show on Arthur's channel should be a highly political Star Wars game in which AP plays with a diverse cast.
I actually just play with Jabba the Hutt and the dude who plays the clue horn. That's it. That's the three of us. What was the Dungeons and Daddies for all that jizz where they played the jizz band? If you haven't Patreon them to get all that jizz,
That sentence.
I've been recorded saying that.
Yeah, that exists on the internet.
You're missing out. It's a good one.
Well, we were having a good run to keeping this episode monetized, but then...
No. This show, I don't monetize it. Why bother? I always assume James has included some sort of trick. We talked about killing children in this episode. Come on now. Be real. All right. We're going to wrap it up here, audience, but we may appear next week for next year of $4.99. So be ready, because it's going to be a short one. It's going to be a year so short, we may end up doing end of year in the same episode.
In the middle section.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those Pendrick years.
There are some of those years, I'm going to say.
It's going to be a real chill year.
Yeah, unless one of you fucks something up. So, I don't know. Spoon
Listen.
could always be like, remember how I had a plan to go raid somebody this year? And I'm like, 5 seconds later, it's like a group of Muppets on fire running around. It's just me standing outside a castle going, what happened here?
I do. Eric Vulgaris's Pendragon game is notorious for Eric going, it's going to be a real quiet year next year, and then all hell breaks loose. I am going to endeavor to make this a quiet year.
Yes, of course. Like the movie, The Quiet Year, which was about a year that was very quiet.
Or, the game about a quiet year.
A game about being really quiet.
Yeah. It's a role-playing game.
Is that the goodbye screen? What's that doing there?